If you are holding your breath waiting for the ultimate camera release, let me stop you right there, because what Nikon is about to drop isn't just an upgrade, it is a complete structural shift that is going to completely break the high-end professional imaging market. Welcome back, everyone. If you care about the absolute pinnacle of optical engineering, high-end cinema technology, and gear that changes the rules of what professional creators can achieve, then lock in and listen closely, because today we are tearing apart the massive, highly authentic leak network surrounding the upcoming, highly anticipated Nikon Z9 Mark II. Now, look. For years, the original Nikon Z9 stood tall as an absolute tank. It completely eliminated the mechanical shutter, proved that mirrorless could dominate sports and wildlife fields, and forced giants like Canon and Sony to completely rethink their flagship strategies. But time moves fast in the tech world. Competitors have clawed back, processing power has evolved, and the industry landscape has shifted dramatically. So, when rumors started swirling that Nikon was preparing the Z9 II, most people thought it would just be a routine spec bump, maybe a slightly faster processor, a tweaked autofocus algorithm, or some minor sensor adjustments. They thought wrong. According to deep-tier manufacturing leaks, supply chain tracking, and insider reports from major global photography networks, the delay in the Z9 II's timeline isn't accidental. Nikon has been quietly cooking something historic behind closed doors. And the reason for this intense delay points directly to one massive, industry-altering earthquake: the deep integration of RED digital cinema technology. Let that sink in for a second. Nikon didn't just acquire RED to badge engineer a few cinema cameras. They are bringing legendary cinema DNA straight into their flagship photography powerhouse. And if the leaked specification sheets floating around the inner circles are even 80% accurate, the Z9 II is about to make every other flagship camera on the market look like legacy hardware. We are talking about a device engineered not just to take photos, but to completely erase the dividing line between high-end commercial photography and Hollywood-grade cinematography. Let us break down what is actually happening under the hood, starting with the heart of the machine, the sensor. For the longest time, pixel counts and readout speeds have been locked in a bitter compromise. You either go high resolution and deal with slower readout and rolling shutter, or you drop the megapixels to gain blistering speed. Nikon's original Z9 shattered that mold with a brilliant stack sensor, but the Z9 II was rumored to push that boundary into absolute science fiction territory. Industry insiders are pointing toward a newly engineered, highly refined 46-megapixel stacked CMOS sensor. But here is where it gets crazy. This new sensor architecture is reportedly over 3 times faster in readout speed compared to the first-generation Z9. Think about what that means for a working professional. We are looking at a sensor readout speed so fast that rolling shutter distortion is not just minimized, it is effectively driven down to zero. You can track a speeding race car, a whipping golf swing, or frantic wildlife movement without a single trace of skew. And then there is the flash synchronization speed. Traditional mechanical shutters have always choked flash photography limits. Even electronic shutters usually force you to compromise. But leaked reports indicate that the Z9 II could achieve a mind-boggling flash sync speed of up to 1/720th of a second. Let me repeat that, 1/720th of a second using an electronic sensor readout. That specification alone shatters historical barriers, giving commercial and fashion photographers the ultimate weapon to overpower blazing sunlight with studio strobes without ever needing high-speed sync power loss. Coupled with this insane sensor speed is a rumored native base ISO of 30. Yes, you heard that correctly, ISO 32. For studio and landscape photographers who demand ultra-clean shadow recovery, zero digital noise, and color depth that rivals medium format systems, a native ISO 32 on a full-frame stack sensor is the holy grail. It delivers an organic richness, tonal graduation, and dynamic range that will make commercial clients drop their AWS. You are essentially getting medium format cinematic quality packed into an agile, ultra-rugged sports body. Now, let us talk about the brain powering this beast. The original Z9 runs on the dual EXPEED engines, which were already powerhouses. But the Z9 II is heavily rumored to debut the next-generation EXPEED processing architecture. This processor is built from the ground up to handle massive data throughput, advanced artificial intelligence tracking algorithms, and compute-heavy video codecs without breaking a sweat or melting down your thermal chassis. With the EXPEED engine at the helm, the burst shooting capabilities are slated to reach staggering heights. We are looking at raw continuous shooting speeds of up to 60 frames per second at full 46 megapixel resolution, and a blistering 120 frames per second when punched into DX crop mode. Imagine standing on the sidelines of a major sporting event, holding down the shutter, and capturing 60 full-resolution RAW frames every single second with zero viewfinder blackout, zero lag, and deep learning AI tracking locked dead onto the athlete's eye. You will never miss the decisive moment again. In fact, you will have too many perfect frames to choose from. Speaking of artificial intelligence, autofocus performance is getting a massive evolutionary leap. Nikon's subject detection is already industry-leading, but the combination of the faster sensor readout and the EXPEED processor means the tracking algorithms will calculate predictive vector movements with terrifying precision. Whether a subject is darting erratically through heavy brush, running directly toward the camera at high speed, or obscured momentarily by foreground elements, the Z9 II's tracking system is engineered to stick like glue. It is designed to think ahead of the action, anticipating movement before it even registers on screen. But if you think the still photography upgrades are wild, wait until you hear what is happening on the video side. This is where the RED acquisition completely changes the rules of the game. For years, hybrid shooters have had to compromise. If you wanted true cinema workflows, raw internal codecs, and advanced color science, you bought a dedicated cinema rig. If you wanted hybrid flexibility, you dealt with compressed internal video or clunky external recorders. Nikon is about to completely obliterate that boundary. Leaks strongly indicate that the Nikon Z9 II will feature internal 12-bit REDCODE RAW, the legendary or 3D format, directly on board. Let that sink in for a moment. You are getting the exact same proprietary cinema compression and color science that Hollywood filmmakers use on high-end cinematic productions, integrated directly into a flagship mirrorless camera body. No messy external modules, no proprietary workarounds. Just pure, unadulterated cinematic data straight to your dual CF Express Type B memory cards. The video spec sheet reads like a filmmaker's ultimate wishlist, up to 8.3K 3:2 open gate video recording at 60 frames per second. Open gate recording means you are utilizing the entire sensor area, giving high-end creators the ultimate flexibility to punch in, reframe, or punch down into vertical 9:16 content for social media or cinematic widescreen displays, all from a single master file without losing resolution. Furthermore, rumors point to high-speed slow-motion capabilities including 4K at 120 and even 240 frames per second, giving videographers buttery smooth cinematic fluid motion that looks astonishingly sharp. Nikon is also expected to introduce advanced film simulation lookup tables, known as LUTs, built directly into the camera system to provide rich, natural, and highly polished color profiles right out of the box for both video and stills. Paired with enhanced thermal management to prevent overheating during long, grueling 8K recording sessions, the Z9 II is shaping up to be the ultimate all-in-one production tool for modern multimedia creators who refuse to carry two separate kits. Now, let us address the elephant in the room. When is this masterpiece actually launching, and what is going on with the market right now? If you look closely at global retail channels, strange things have been happening with inventory. Across major regions, the original Nikon Z9 has faced notable stock fluctuations, with units frequently hitting backorder status. Now, seasoned tech watchers know that camera. Manufacturers do not let flagship lines dry up unless something massive is happening behind the scenes. Industry veterans and prominent analysts have pointed out that these inventory clearances are classic precursors to a generational transition. While initial rumors hoped for an earlier arrival, the heavy integration of RED's complex technology stack has naturally extended the development cycle. Nikon is not rushing a half-baked product to hit an arbitrary calendar date. They are taking their time to ensure the hardware, firmware, and cinema integration are absolute perfection. Current industry consensus points toward a major development announcement or formal unveiling arriving later in the year, setting the stage for units to land in the hands of working professionals. Think about the competitive landscape for a second. Sony has the Alpha 1 series, Canon has the EOS R1, and both are incredible feats of engineering. But neither of them has a direct, fully integrated corporate pipeline to one of the most revered cinema camera brands in cinematic history. Nikon's strategic acquisition of RED gives them an unfair advantage, a secret weapon that allows them to merge elite photography speed with elite Hollywood cinema pedigree in a way no other competitor can replicate. If you are a professional photographer, a commercial studio owner, a wildlife documentarian, or a high-end commercial filmmaker, this is the gear cycle you have been waiting for. It represents the culmination of years of optical dominance, sensor innovation, and bold corporate strategy. The Nikon Z9 II is not just an incremental update to keep up with the Joneses, it is a definitive statement that Nikon is playing to win the entire industry. Now, I want to hand this over to you because your perspective matters. Looking at these leaked specs, the 46-megapixel high-speed stack sensor, the native ISO 32, the blistering 60 frames per second raw burst, and most importantly, internal REDCODE RAW video, does this make you want to jump ship and switch systems, or are you sticking with your current setup? Drop your thoughts, your wishlist items, and your predictions down in the comments section below.